Travis Manguzzo. Yesterday, I believe it was even last night when I was checking the news and found the MSNBC about the Bible ban here in Utah. They finally got around to it. I also heard that another cult group had been discovered as a mass grave was found of the member bodies of that cult group. Another suicide cult group, or a murder cult group. They just found mass grave of the bodies of the cult. So that was kind of disturbing. The one thing that identifies a cult group, despite, there's psychologists who claim they know how to identify a cult, and they have a list of cosmopolitan numbers to identify a cult group, and ex-Mormons have been doing videos on it and going over the list, seeing if the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints fits on it, and it sort of does for many, but it's awkward for all. Doesn't quite fit. Well, there's one, a guaranteed one, that all psychologists miss in identifying a cult group. And it's just one, and it's only one, and if they have this, if they do this, they're a cult group. They're a dangerous cult group that could lead to mass murder of the followers. They lie. Yeah, it's that simple. If an organization lies, they're a cult group. It was right there in front of everybody's face, and psychologists purposely lied to keep you from knowing the one answer. Because psychology is also a cult group that causes harm. And yes, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints lies, so yes, they too are a cult group. And it's beyond hypocritical, because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints teaches that the devil is the source of all lies. He's the great liar and deceiver from the beginning, from the premortal council in heaven. Liars shall be thrust down to hell. And here the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been telling us that they are satanic. They follow the doctrine of Lucifer. They lie. You worship who you follow. And the church follows Lucifer's doctrines. They are satanic. This is his church. It has his sign on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. And on the Nauvoo Temple as well. Yeah, Brigham Young had it changed after Joseph was assassinated. So the blueprints remained Joseph's, but the exterior design was changed by Brigham Young's orders. So, this morning as I was going out for my run, a police officer was in his vehicle parked across the street with his lights on. They weren't flashing, just red and blues were on. A steady shining of the lights, like the headlights. Those two were on. He wasn't leaving. Had plenty of time to pull out of the little entryway that he was parked in. And I'm familiar with this. Cops do that here in Utah, but typically they don't have their lights on. Usually cops in Utah are trying to trick people and catch them unawares. They gotta meet their quotas. And so here, the police officer was doing it right. He was letting others know he was there with his lights on. He wasn't trying to trick anybody, wasn't trying to, catch people without a search warrant. He let people know, here I am, so that if he catches anybody, it's because they're stupid. And so for the latter days, Joseph Smith talks about our Christ, who's going to come in the latter days, and that Mormons need to hear his voice, or Mormons will be cut off from among the Mormons. And so this isn't Jesus. He's not going to come at the final day to then have everybody hear his voice or be cut off. Yeah, he's going to be from the beginning. We went over this with Micah. We see from the Joseph Smith history account that his voice is going to warn about the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the wicked Mormons shall burn as stubble, for they that come shall burn the Mormons and exterminate them from existence. They will be erased from history. Now, part of this is because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had attempted to erase from history the Mormon Christ. And so God's pissed. And he knew that he would be pissed. He knew that the church would do that to him. And so already had the Purim principle revenge set out for the great and abominable church. But this is what the Christ came to warn Mormons of, so that they would leave the great and abominable church. It's all through scriptures. This is what I've been doing my whole time, guys. This shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. Only if you're new, because YouTube silenced my voice by orders of the church, would you not be aware of this, because you're participating as a Mormon rather than actively studying about the latter-day saints that you are. I know you're interested in the latter days. I see you attracted to other people's videos that know nothing of the subject matter, and you didn't even bother to watch my pre-video to Micah so that you would know my credentials and qualifications. Nope. And instead you go to videos without that knowledge, and you think you know better, and you violate Nelson's commandment at conference for peace. As he fulfilled latter-day prophecy from Micah. It was awesome. And so Joseph Smith is making it very clear Mormons need to pay attention. They need to hearken to this guy. Surely the Lord God will do nothing save he shall revealeth his secrets unto his servants the prophets. It's mistranslated, but it gets the point across. Mormons all know this. The prophets cannot remain silent and in darkness. As Micah says they're going to be. Automatically makes them the great and abominable church. You've been fooled, you've been deceived, Mormons. Good job. You're fulfilling prophecy, too. So on 9/11, 1826, William Morgan went missing. A news reporter picked up on it, wrote the story, and the whole East Coast got aware of his story. They were furious with Freemasonry generally. Nobody knew exactly what happened. Nobody knew where he went. But it was clear something evil was afoot to cause the disappearance of William Morgan, who was trying to warn America of a threat to America. And so the people, with mob mentality, burned down all but 5 or 6 Freemasonry temples, both of the Scottish Rites and of the York Rites. And even the one where William Morgan was working on that book, Canandaigua, New York. I'll let you look it up on a map where it's located. In 1838, Danites gathered at Adamon-Diamond and then marched down to the polling station in Daviess County. There, Chris Stewart, who's quitting, having a special election this year because of it, his third great-grandfather got knocked down to the ground and the Mormon War began. Joseph Smith was framed, sent to Liberty Jail. Governor Boggs issued a Mormon extermination order. Lots of murders, lots of fire began. I believe this was Hans Mill, wasn't it? Doesn't matter if it was or not. Most likely was. But wouldn't you know it, Brigham Young got to become president of the 12 out of that fiasco. Excommunicated his boss, Thomas P. Marsh, while Joseph was locked up in Liberty Jail. So yeah, the whole milk thing was a lie. Again, cult groups lie. Both President Hinckley and Monson lied about Thomas B. Marsh at the Pulpit of Conference. Danites chased him out. Had nothing to do with milk. Spilt milk by his wife. And his defending her honor. So, Brigham Young decides to flee the country. Had Joseph Smith murdered. Hiram murdered. Kimball was kidnapping Hiram's wife and son, and they sex trafficked their polygamous wives to the Salt Lake Valley. But before he left, he made sure to burn down, like the Spirit of God, as a fire is burning, his outward design on the Nauvoo Temple. Burnt it to the ground. There are many excuses as to why he did it. Nobody actually knows. Some say it was because he didn't want to pay for it. He abandoned it. He's not going to pay for it. But regardless of the symbolism of it, he left. Now, what do all three of these stories have in common? Yeah, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints of Brigham Young. Yes, did you check on the map for Canandaigua, New York? Yeah, who was the master mason of that lodge? Can you guess? I'll tell you. He lived at the farm in Manchester, just north of there. Isn't that exciting? Mormons are a part of American history, not just for the wars they caused. And thus came the Book of Mormon. Thus came Joseph Smith, warning of the day that shall burn as an oven. This year is the bicentennial year of that visit. Dream. It's not real. Because Joseph is using the learning of the Jews. It is not a literal history. That's why he didn't talk about getting arrested for glass looking in 26th of March, 1826. 20th of March, 1826. Excuse me. Associated memory got it mixed up. So, yesterday, as I finished up with Micah, came across Nahum, and sure enough, it's a bombshell too, and has to do with Joseph Smith's prophesying in that second vision. And so, since this is the bicentennial year, since according to the learning of the Jews, this is the final year of the latter days, Mormons, clock is ticking. He talks of, right at the beginning, the day that shall burn as an oven. At the second coming, according to Bruce R. McConkie did the chapter heading. Now, as I went over with you yesterday in Micah, because you endured to the end, Nahum is not huh, it's kuh. So it's Nechem. Chem is Chem, the son of Noah. Noah is referred to in Matthew as in the latter days, as in the days of Noah. So the story of Noah is about the second coming, or the latter days, technically, because it's learning of the Jews, Bruce. It's not about a second coming, it's about the first coming. The Messiah is to be born in the latter days, for the latter days, to warn Mormons, because Joseph Smith makes that distinction in verse 40, in combination with section 103, verse 16, which they, Bruce, why didn't you guys footnote 103:16 with that? Right. Jesus, second coming, second chance, because Jesus failed the first time. Because Jesus isn't real, created by Roman Emperor Constantine, the big lie of the cult group of Christianity. And Brigham Young, became the cult group of Mormons. That's how you identify a cult group. They lie. And so, it's not surprised that Christianity is fracturing all over the world, especially here in the United States. Methodists did it, Southern Baptists did it recently. Everybody's falling. And so, the Bible has been banned. Pissing other people who are not Mormon off. What do you think they're going to do to you, Mormons? Bruce was insistent that it was going to be nukes. Doesn't have to be. Just get the whole world angry at you that they storm Utah and burn it to the ground. An extermination order for the latter days. All because Mormons caused it. And so, Nahum, the N is a prefix determinative for king. This is King Noah's son. Ham, better known as Chem. It is the transliteration from Egyptian with a feminine singular added to it, becomes the land of Egypt. This is the masculine form for just Egypt, not the land of Egypt, because he's male. Ham means Egypt. So the Jewish authors, with the Masoretic text, and we'd have to check the Dead Sea Scrolls to see if Mitzrayim was added in there too, or if it was missing. And then it was the Masoretes, after all, who added it. Could have been the Greek Septuagint that added it, if it wasn't in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I'd have to check. But Mitzrayim, no, that was not the word. Ham already was Egypt. You just got exclusive knowledge from me. So the burden of Nineveh, that's in Assyria. It contained on one of the walls the whole account of when Babylon came down and told Jerusalem to surrender. It's in our book of Kings and or Chronicles. That whole account. That's why it's in Aramaic. Is because the author of that book, or books, when they got to that part, knew that it was on the wall of Nineveh, and then sat in front of it and wrote it all down on papyrus. The book of the vision, it's not literal history. It's latter-day prophecy and the learning of the Jews, of Nahum, the Elkoshite. So yeah, knowing the Paleo-Hebrew, which you have to take the Aramaic script that it's in, convert it to Paleo-Hebrew script in order to render a proper decipherment and translation. And I'm the only one on earth who knows how to do that, because I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. Rest of the world, if they have not read my works, read my research, are still stuck with the massive error of William Foxwell Albright, thanks to Sir Alan Gardner. But we won't review that again for you. So God is jealous. Yeah, you tried to erase his Christ from history. And the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth. You have to repeat that. And is furious with Mormons. Because remember, it's all about Mormonism. It's all about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and Mormons. Because Joseph Smith said, the Christ in the learning of the Jews is a Mormon. Thus, all of Scripture is about him. And he the Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries. Sean Connery. We do need to check. See if this is Satan or if it's that word from Micah. Most likely it's the same word from Micah, but just in case it's Satan, it's Satan in the book of Job, not Lot. Yeah, Google wants to go slow, and that's great. Modern technology updates up the wazoo, and they can't get it to work properly. Adversaries. Ooh. Wow. Yeah, you definitely need to know the... Wow. But yeah, it's not Satan. But there is some cool stuff in here if you know Hebrew. Too bad we're not going over it. Sucks to be you. Moving on. And he reserveth wrath. The universal symbol of the sun is involved with vengeance and wrath. Day that shall burn as an oven. And he reserveth wrath for his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger. Really? Because it doesn't seem like it. And great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. Unlike that wicked Mormon who got acquitted for his arrest here in Utah for the January 6th involvement. He still has that one awaiting for him in D.C., though. He will not escape that wrath, assuming it's before the day that shall burn as an oven. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind, and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebuketh the sea, and maketh it dry, and drieth up all the rivers. Bashan languisheth, and Carmel, and the flower of Lebanon, Babel, languisheth. That was the Tower of Lebanon. Babel was not of Babylon. Did not exist. Even though the writer wrote after all of that. The mountains quake at him, the hills melt. The earth is burned at his presence. He's a human. He's not going to actually burn with his presence. It burns! Turn off the video! There's Eva Longoria is doing some movie about flaming hot. Women definitely cause burns. The world to dwell in. Who can stand before his indignation? And who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. Sodom had flaming rocks from heaven. Again, latter-day prophecy, not literal history. The Lord is good because he's angry. You're good, promise. I mean it. Here's sacrifices. Please don't burn me. It's amazing what religions you can create when you have the wrong interpretation. A stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. And the only way they can trust in him is if they hearken to him. The only way for them to hearken to him is if he's warning them about the coming danger. Right, Mormons? Notice how the church has remained silent on this bicentennial year and event. But with an overrunning flood, he will make an utter end of the place thereof. We already had that this year. And darkness shall pursue his enemies, the prophets. What do you imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. For while they be folden together as thorns, while they are drunken as drunkards, they shall be devoured as stubble fully dry. There is one come out of thee that imagineth evil against the Lord, a wicked counselor. Is it Oaks? It's Oaks, isn't it? Thus saith the Lord, though they be quiet, and likewise many, yet thus shall they be cut down. Not cut off? We got something new. Cut down instead of cut off. When he shall pass through, though I have afflicted thee, I will afflict thee no more after you're dead. Now I will break Jesus' yoke that you are yoked to Jesus with. And will burst thy bonds in sunder. He just told you you were in bondage. He botched the interpretation of Scripture, let alone the translation. And the Lord hath given a commandment concerning thee, that no more of thy name be sown. Gee, I told you that, didn't I? Leave you neither root nor branch. You are erased from history. Because you tried and attempted to erase your Christ, the Son of God, from history. That's why he's so angry with you. The Lord hath given a commandment concerning thee, that no more of thy name be sown out of the house of thy gods. So say we all. Well, I'm cut off. There it is, the graven image and the molten image. I will make thy grave, for thou art vile. Behold, upon the mountains of the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth peace. Oh, Benedict talks about that. That's in Isaiah 2. So the question is, was this before Isaiah or after Isaiah? O Utah, keep thou thy solemn feasts, perform thy vows. For the wicked Mormon shall no more pass through thee. He is utterly cut off. So it's not Nineveh that shall be destroyed. This is Acts. Destroyed. Precisely as it stands in our New Testament. But it's not if it's Greek. Because utterly translated if translated from the Greek. Joseph Smith was being tricky. He was making a study. And so, yeah, Bruce at least knows that it's a type of what shall be in the latter days. Which means it's not literal history, Bruce. No wonder they stopped publishing your books. He that dasheth in pieces is come up before thy face. Keep the munition. Watch the way, make thy loins strong. Fortify thy power mightily, for the Lord hath turned away the excellency of Jacob. Yeah. Bye-bye, Brigham. You usurped it from Joseph Smith. Time to take it back. As the excellency of Israel. For the emptiers have emptied them out, and marred their vine branches. Joseph Smith's parable, section 101, starting in verse 43, verse 51, the enemy came by night. The shield of his one mighty and strong men is made red. The valiant men are in scarlet. The chariots shall all be flaming torches in the day of his preparation. And the fir trees shall be terribly shaken. Yes, the trees are shaking at the presence of mighty and valiant men with flaming chariots. The chariots rage in the streets. They shall justle one against another in the broad ways. They shall seem like torches. They shall run like the lightnings. Electric cars. Yay! Prophecy. He shall recount his worthies. They shall stumble in their walk. They shall make haste to the wall thereof, and the defense shall be prepared. The gates of the rivers shall be opened, and the palace shall be dissolved. Uh-oh. The Hazab shall be led away captive. They're saying the queen. It's interesting. They're saying or the queen. H would refer to the, and so Zazab is the word for queen that they're using. Okay. I saw breasts. I'm going, that's not queen. Oh, okay. So yeah, it does have a little dot there for the doubling of the Sade. So it's not the Zeta. And so the throne of the people. And they're referring to it as the queen. Interesting. But yeah, the is there. Interesting. So the throne is in the female form? She shall be brought up. Thus why they made it queen. They're guessing. It's Melkot is actually the Hebrew word for queen. It comes from Melech for king. You just add the T for the feminine singular. Melekah could also work, depending on which Masoretic group you're a part of. So yeah, they guessed because of the pronouns later on. She shall be brought up, and her maids. That's also a good indicator. But yeah, it does have to do with a royalty, female royalty. Shall lead her as with the voice of doves, tabering upon their breasts. Female breasts. Porn. And as I talked about in the Genesis Garden Story video, you now know the super sacred secret of women. They are withholding and covering up the truth and the symbolism of the latter days. Women, you're withholding the latter day knowledge from us? Is that why Isaiah says that in the latter days the daughters of Zion shall expose the latter days? But Nineveh is like of old, like a pool of water, yet they shall flee away. Brave Sir Robin flew away. Stand, stand, shall they cry. There's lots of repetition in here. But none shall look back. This is a linguistic pattern of a different author, in case you didn't know. Take ye the spoil of silver and gold, for there is none end of the store and the glory out of all the pleasant furniture. Yeah, the great and abominable church is filthy rich, aren't they? She is empty and void and waste, and her heart melteth. So yeah, it'd be the great and abominable church, the whore. Zion, the usurped Zion. And the knees smite together. That's how the throne would be involved. And much pain is in all loins. And the faces of them all gather blackness. That's what is meant in the Book of Mormon. Blackface of Laman and the Lamanites. Because they're white supremacist. Had nothing to do with actually being black from Africa. Where is the dwelling of the lions and the feeding place of the young lions? There we go. The beginning of the latter days. Samson reference. Where the lion, even the old lion, walketh, and the lion's whelp, Utah, and none made them afraid. Who dares to molest or make afraid? 21st of August, 2017. The first day of darkness, The lion did tear in pieces enough for his whelps, and strangled for his lioness. Says, see plural marriage, Travis. Yeah, the Great and Abominable Church of Utah had polygamy, and filled his holes with prey, and his dens with raven. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts. That would be Gad. Is it the double D of David, like in Micah? And I will burn the polygamous chariots in the smoke, and the sword, remember it's pronounced sword, shall devour thy young lions. And I will cut off thy prey from the earth, and the voice of thy messengers shall no more be heard. Oh, the horn was knocked out of Moroni's hands during the mighty earthquake in Magna, which means mighty, which means strong. One mighty and strong. Final chapter. Woe to the bloody city of Salt Lake. It is full of lies. Love it when a plan comes together. And robbery. The prey departeth not. The noise of the whip, and the noise of the rattling of the wheels, of the prancing horses, and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lifteth up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain of the cult group in mass graves, and a great number of carcasses. And there is none end of their corpses, Mormons. Are you sure you wanted to exterminate and erase from history your Christ? Because you believe in Jesus? Are you sure that's a good thing? Because this is the bicentennial year. It's the final year of the latter days. This is it. This is your final chance. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts. Yeah, having a fake idol makes you a witch. Same thing, all of Christianity do it. Church might as well do it. Because your deity is not real. So you're practicing idol worship, and your superstitions are in accordance with your idol god. Just like witches. They pray too. It's called a spell. It's a rote prayer that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts. You have to pay in order to save your dead ancestors and your family who are living still. So that you can save them in the temple, you have to pay up. Can anybody remember that little meme that I used to post? I believe it was Gong who was involved in that. We can check. It should still be in this one file. Raindrops keep falling on my head. I don't know, but I think I'm turning dead. I've been naughty to God. So He's decided to burn me and erase me from history. Da, 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 da. The joys of associative memory. I realized I was actually practicing it back in primary. Yep, Bednar and Gong. If you don't pay Jesus the ransom, you will never see your family again. Should we remind you of that? Put that in this video. I am so awesome. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts. I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will shew the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. It's not really a shame, but if you believe it is, you're gonna be exposed. Yep. Sorry, Mormons, you're gonna have to be porn stars. Orgasmo. You gotta pay to save your family, so you gotta become a porn star. See, the church just says you can't watch R-rated movies from Benson. They say nothing about NC-17 movies. So you can watch it. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will see thee as a grazing stock. This is just awesome. Scriptures are awesome. I don't know why people think the Bible is boring. And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee. It's a Mormon! Run! And say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? Yeah, it's Salt Lake City, guys. Utah. Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? Art thou better than Populus? No. That was situate among the rivers, that had the waters round about it, whose rampart was the sea, and her wall was from the sea. Ethiopia and Egypt were her strength, and it was infinite. Put and Lubum were thy helpers. These are all the African countries in the surrounding area. You'd have to refer to Genesis to see what he's referring to here. Although it looks like 9 Libyans for sea, and they refer you to Put for Genesis 10:6. But yeah, it's all in Africa there. But there's Nahum, king of Egypt, just like in Micah, who is like unto God. He did that at the end of his story too. So here we have it for Nahum, Egypt. Yet she was carried away, she went into captivity. Yep. And her young children were dashed in pieces at the top of all the streets. And they cast lots for her honorable men, and all her great men were bound in chains. Yep, Lucifer shall be bound for the millennium. Didn't think it was actually Lucifer getting bound as a spirit entity, did you? Though Thou also shalt be drunken. Thou shalt be hid. Thou shalt seek strength because of the enemy. All thy strongholds shall be like fig trees with the first ripe fruits. If they be shaken, they shall even fall into the mouth of the eater. Well, Joseph Smith, parable, section 101, verse 51. He also brings it up in his 19 July 1840 that can only be read in the Joseph Smith papers unless you find me reading it to you in one of my videos or referring to it. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. Yeah, Isaiah talks about that. The men will be the ones to do a lot of the dying, which means the Mormon women will be left. Oh dear God, what a nightmare that will be. So many broken hearts. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies, although there will be many Mormon women who will be raped. And apparently, according to the Book of Mormon, you'll be kidnapped, raped, murdered, and then eaten. The fire shall devour thy bars. Draw thee waters for the siege, fortify thy strongholds, go into clay, and tread the mortar. Make strong the brick kiln. There shall the fire devour thee, the sword shall cut thee off. Sword. It shall eat thee. Wow. I'm on a roll this video. Like the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the locust. They're coming. They were just in Elko, Nevada, just the other week. Fox 13 News Utah recorded it. They were popping under the wheels of the cars. Thou hast multiplied thy merchants above the stars of heaven. The cankerworm spoileth and flieth away. Fly away to the sea. Thy crowned are as the locust, and thy captains as the great grasshopper, which camp in the hedges in the cold day. But when the sun ariseth, they flee away, and their place is not known where they are. Thy shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria. Thy nobles shall dwell in the dust. The Mormons are scattered upon the mountains, and no man gathereth them, because they're dead. The man like Moses is the keys of gathering for the Exodus to Zion. Mormons are dead. They cannot be gathered. There is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap the hand over thee. Yeah, nobody's going to mourn for Mormons who banned the Bible as porn. For upon whom hath not the wickedness passed continually? Yay! So Habakkuk is next. Still continues on the same thing. So Mark Augustine, remember when you told that investigator well, it was actually just a person, they never chose to investigate the church, about how you referred to Habakkuk and you read a random passage and you didn't understand it and tried to convince her that she too didn't understand it. Well, I understand it. We'll see. We'll see how this one does. You getting the point, Mormons?